Listen up, gum shoes. All right, let's get into it. More of the rumor mill. Basketball before we dip off into football. Because pretty soon here, I need to cut my hair. I need to get faded up. Pretty soon here, we're going to be talking about football. But of course, the drafts is coming up. Basketball. I don't know if I'm going to talk too much about the drafts. Well, I am. I'll talk a little bit about it. Depends. But I do want to still focus on Cleveland and what Brown's doing. And the reason why I want to focus on this is, for one, we know Braun's going to go to the playoffs this year coming up. He'll go to the playoffs. You know, how far into the playoffs will he get? We don't know. That is going to depend. They're letting some people go. So there's some people who Cleveland is getting rid of. Everybody in the Grand Mall thinks Braun is not going to stay in Cleveland. However, there's still the possibility that he will stay. It's not like all is just like, oh, he's leaving. That's it. Call it a day. Nah. Braun might stay. Most people think he's going to LA. Some think he's going to New York. Some people think he's going to Philly. We've had this conversation. But the conversation is warming up even more as we go. You know why? Because of Kawhi Leonard, who is a superstar. And where Kawhi Leonard falls is going to make a difference. And the reason why that is because Kawhi Leonard is a difference maker. Regardless of where he goes, that team is going to be looked at as potentially going to the finals. It's just it. Without Kawhi, the Spurs, you know, they were still, what, number 6, 7? You know what I'm saying? Overall, they went first round into the playoffs and practically got swept. But they got beat by the best team out there. So, you know, what are you going to do about that? But they went down 4-1. Nonetheless, Kawhi Leonard would have made that a lot more competitive. You know, I don't know what his average is, but let's just speculate and say he had an average of 30 points tonight. Let's just go there. That makes a huge difference. Even if he was doing 25, still makes a big difference. You know, but if he was doing more than that in the 40s for an average, I don't think so. But nonetheless, he's a difference maker. Now, some recent talk here. I like listening to Chris Broussard because he isn't puffed up. He isn't like Skip Bayless. So I'm going to listen to a little Chris Broussard here, just a little bit. Him or Shannon Sharp, and just a little bit.
Does this play out?
Well, you know.
Hold up.
All right, we're joined now by FS1's NBA analyst, Chris Broussard. Chris, we talked about it, but I want to know what you think. How does this play out?
Well, you know, I would tend to agree with Chris Sheridan that I'm sure trading Kawhi to the Lakers is the Spurs' last resort. Remember how upset Greg Popovich was with Memphis when they traded Pau Gasol to the Lakers? So, I look, why in the world would the Spurs give Kawhi, number one, what he wants? When he wants out, why in the world would you give him what he wants? Number two, why would you strengthen a conference rival? And so I think that they'll look to the East. You know, the Spurs have some leverage. Kawhi obviously has got leverage because he can tell any team I'm not staying long term.
And that's all, he's going to nip any deal.
But they have some leverage too, because I was talking to an executive yesterday from a Western Conference team that said, if I'm the Spurs, I wouldn't trade him. You still have through February, right, to the deadline to at least, if you want to try to play it out and try to make amends. Look, I doubt he can sit out again. Okay.
All right. So he's saying he doubt he can sit out again. For one, saying that you're not going to trade a person who wants to be traded, that person's going to sit out. They're going to find a way not to play for you, or they're going to play terribly. Listen, Kawhi Leonard isn't saying, hey, I don't want to be here because of some obscure reason. He just doesn't want to be there. It isn't, you know, some arbitrary thing that's just out there fly by night. I don't want to be around you. I don't like the coach. I don't want to play for this team anymore. I'm leaving. And that's just that. And if you try to make somebody like that stay, he's going to be missing again for a year and a half. He's not going to play. So this is all bad. As far as trading him to the Lakers, and then the Lakers being a threat, right now the Lakers is not a threat. They're just not a threat unless they occupy two more people. Now, people are looking at CP3 going there, Kawhi and LeBron. Okay, now they're a threat. You know what I'm saying? To the Spurs, yeah, they're gonna take you guys out. That's just it. You know what I'm saying? So there's that whole thing. How about Kawhi Leonard going to the East, going to Cleveland? Will LeBron stay? Will LeBron stay if Kawhi, will he stay? My guess is I don't think so. I just don't think LeBron wants to be there anymore. He did what he said he was going to do. He clearly said he wanted to play with smarter players. You know, they're already getting rid of some people. But let's just be honest. Do you think they're going to let go of J.R. Smith's $14 million contract that LeBron worked so hard for him to get, and J.R. Smith worked so hard to sabotage? He did it on purpose. And then he lied about it in front of the whole world, which is even worse. So he clearly did that on purpose. And you hurt somebody's legacy by doing that. J.R. Smith sabotaged the game. He stood there, sat there, and was telling Hill to give him the ball. And you're right up under the hoop. He's like, get me the ball before Hill even shot it. He sabotaged the whole series, and LeBron just quit. So there's no doubt in my mind that LeBron is going to leave. I will be in shock if he stays. But one of the things that can make him stay is if you get him a smart player like Kawhi. The only bad thing about Kawhi is nobody knows what's wrong with him, and he can fall back on that if he's just not looking or feeling good in the Cleveland. He can just go sit down and say something's wrong with me. And they'll be like, well, what's wrong with you? You know, $200 million contract for the next 5 years. What's wrong with you, Kawhi? Well, I got a thing. It's right up under my doohickey. And my thingamajigger is stuck inside of the thingamabob and the whatchamacallit hooked up under the hitchamajigger, and it's next to the doodadder. That's what's wrong with me. And everybody you go, oh, so you're not gonna play for the rest of the year? Nah, I don't think I will. You do it. You get out there and run around. I think I'm finished. So Kawhi Leonard is good for doing that. He is copying the D Rose, Derrick Rose effect. So that's just some short synopsis of what I think. If you guys want to listen to Undisputed and Chris Broussard and Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless and what they're talking about, it is on YouTube. But I did want to bring up that little excerpt because LeBron, where LeBron goes, playoffs goes. He goes into the playoffs. That's just it. He's always in the playoffs. However, moreover, you know, where LeBron goes, there's potential to go into the finals. And that's just that. It's just the extra push. I'm going to tell you right now. Let's just be for real or be Ferroni. What 4 guys do you think can take out Durant, Curry, Green, Clay, or 5 guys, excuse me. Durant, Curry, Green, Clay, and Iguodala. And a strong bench. You have the number 2 and a number 3 in all the league on one team. And the result is 3 championships in 4 years. That's the result. The result is sweeping the number 1 player, questionably, of all time. Sweeping him. Knocking him off twice. The result is you just no one can stand against you. That's the result. So I'm just curious, to any 4 players, you got what, Paul George, CP3, Kyrie Irving, LeBron, and Davis? Maybe that squad can take those guys out, you think? It might be possible. It might be a lot possible if Kyrie Irving was still playing with Cleveland, and then Cleveland picked up Davis and then got Kawhi Leonard. We know that's not going to happen, but nonetheless, some of it can. Kawhi Leonard can be acquired by Cleveland. Anthony Davis, who I don't know if he can get out of that contract or would become a Cleveland, but I think he signed on until 2021. So, there's that. And Kyrie Irving's not going anywhere. He's starting to get on the business end of the basketball team he's with now. He just mentioned that. He's like, well, they're starting to show me, pretty much how the money goes and all that other stuff. In other words, he's doing what LeBron's doing now. So that, to me, means franchise, pretty close to it. I think Kyrie Irving's, contract, if he's on a yearly contract now and he gets I'll just put it to you like this. It just wouldn't surprise me if he got one of them colossal $200 million contracts. I don't know what it is right now, but it just wouldn't surprise me to hear that, and he's there for the next 5 years. I just wouldn't be surprised to hear that. $220 million, pay him $40 million a year. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that at all. So there's that. The problem is, the number 1 player is LeBron in the league. Number 2, Durant. Number 3, Curry, or switch those 2 around. Number 4, Davis. Number 5, Kawhi when he's playing. Or you can switch that off with Irving whenever those 2 guys decide to play. So they can switch on for number 5 and number 6. Number 7, Simmons, maybe. If he can get a shooting game going on. Maybe Simmons. I don't know. Oladipo? CP3? Probably around, the other guy from Houston. James from Houston. And then CP3. So, I don't know. You can switch those players in and out from number 4 on out. So then you'd be getting into, after you get into 8, you'd be looking at, I don't know, Oladipo and those guys. Then you would go from superstar to just stars. Westbrook, number 5. I'm sorry, I did forget about Westbrook. And but number 5, Westbrook. Okay, right? I'll take it. The point being is there's only about 10 superstars that carry the team. There's about 10 of them. Then you get into the stars. So Oladipo would be in the star range. Kevin Love is a star, not a superstar. Even Carmelo Anthony used to be a superstar. Not a superstar anymore. He's more of a star. But that's purely because of his popularity. So my whole point to it is there's only so many players that could be on a team to knock off a juggernaut like Golden State. And truthfully, I don't think Cleveland should have won in 2016. I just don't. You can't convince me that Cleveland was the better team that year. I'm sorry. I'm just not buying it. I'm just not. Not after all those technical fouls and after all that we've seen. No. Cleveland was not the better team, and that's just that. It's fixed, so they won because they haven't won in 50 years. Boom. Yada, yada, yada. Golden State, to me, if they keep the team the way they are for the next, I say for the next 5 years, they can win every single championship. I see no reason why not. You pay those guys accordingly, and I just can't see it. The problem is that's not what's going to happen. It's not at all. So, with that reality, the only way that Golden State is going to lose in the finals is if they're the ones who make the change, not if somebody from outside of that team makes a change. Because Irving's not going to come back to Cleveland. Braun is not going to go to the Celtics, and then all of a sudden Kawhi Leonard joins the Celtics. Those three guys aren't going to gravitate towards the Lakers, and then all of a sudden Davis is on the Lakers. I just can't see any other way of saying it, but it is what it is. You got two of the top superstars on one team. That team is the reigning champions, and they can keep it that way as long as they want. That's just it. If they all stay healthy, that's just it. There's nothing nobody can do. They can talk crazy all they want to. They can speculate, but even with Kawhi Leonard healthy, D Rose healthy, just everyone healthy, it just isn't going to matter. They're just too good. Their threes are too good. They're just too good. So that's what I got to say about it. But will LeBron stay? I don't think LeBron's going to stay if Kawhi comes. However, this is one thing I do think will happen. I think Kawhi. I think if Kawhi does venture to Cleveland, which I don't think it's going to happen, actually, but Cleveland's on the list. This is what I believe. If Kawhi came to Cleveland and LeBron left, and Kawhi played all season, they could go not to the championship, but definitely into at least the second round of the playoffs. If all things stay the same, they had Love, and yada yada yada. I don't know what J.R. Smith is going to do. But nonetheless, if you just took out LeBron, I think they can go in the first round of the playoffs. And to me, that's a good thing for Cleveland. That's good for them. You know what I'm saying? So they become like the Pelicans. Knock off somebody in the first round. Let's say they would luck up and have to face the Raptors. Knock them off. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it's your boy Tone 202, man. God loves you. You guys, peace.